33 yardage to win the game, which he does. What a comeback.
Hello, Texans fans. Along with Robert Harris Jr., I'm Kano Stacy, and welcome to Texans Timeout. Now, this week it's a little on the odd side for scheduling purposes because the Texans play on Monday night, tonight. They're going to be up in Denver taking on the Broncos. Brock Osweiler returns home, and we'll have plenty to say about that soon. But I wanted to touch on last Sunday night football game where the Texans come away with some sort of miraculous win over the Colts. Unbelievable. What do you think, Robert?
Well, you know, they struggled in the first three quarters, and I think that fourth quarter, you can say that the Colts defense kind of laid down in that game. And where we were able to counterpart the game and change the direction of the game. Mm-hmm. Big touchdown by Lamar Miller. He's been running pretty great for the first 5 games of the season.
Love Lamar Miller.
For the first 5 games of the season, he's done his thing. Over 100 yards pretty much in every game.
And you don't see a whole lot of that one featured back with 30 carries and over 100 yards, the workhorse of the team, as much in this day and age. But he wanted to be that. He wasn't getting enough touches in Miami. His averages were astronomical, and it was one of those, what is this guy going to do when he gets 25, 30 carries a game? I mean, if he keeps those kind of numbers per carry, he's going to be great, and he has been. And a lot of people were willing to write the Texans off without J.J. In that game in particular, you didn't miss him really because of such great play by Clowney and Merciless and great play in the secondary.
In Texans history, the secondary hasn't been great at all. People, TV out there, TV land. They haven't been great at all because they always get beat by a big receiver.
All heart, but not much, you know, in the big play department. It shouldn't have to be oh, well, JJ's out there. He'll get all the sacks. He'll get all the tackles. He'll disrupt all the plays. I can just be on cruise control.
The front seven is very key because you mentioned Clown and you mentioned Merciless. Without J.J. Watt for the whole season, those two guys will have to step up for the whole defense.
You got to imagine for a moment, there's not any one guy that's going to be able to fill in for a J.J. Watt. You just can't. So it's going to take a combined effort and a team-oriented defense executing the way they have been. But 23-9 in 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you think that's the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty much. That's what you're really thinking. But the Texans kept fighting. I think that's the difference. They kept fighting. They kept believing in themselves that they can come back and they can get this victory.
Any divisional game is a must-win, regardless of, you know, if it's the worst team in your division and you're the best and would otherwise have nothing to worry about. No, divisional matches are super important.
And they're very key because the AFC South this year is really weak. You could probably win the division with a 9-7 record.
And we did last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, it might be a repeat performance this year. But mention tonight's game. You said Denver game. What are the keys for the Texans to do tonight against Denver?
They're facing a superior defense that is not going to let them back in this game if they start shooting themselves in the foot like they have a tendency to do. Denver's not going to give an inch, and we're going to have to fight for everything. So I'm hoping that Lamar Miller is going to really give a good, healthy dose of the run to keep them honest, open things up for the pass, because they're going to have 2 good receivers out there, Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and their tight end game is good. We're just now finally starting to put together some sort of a tight end game under Bill O'Brien, and that was good to see. And Fedorowicz's catch that he turned into a touchdown was really exciting. So, and I really liked our tight end game when Gary Kubiak was our coach. And I've missed that since Bill O'Brien has been our head coach. It's like there's a whole missing dimension to our passing game, and I think that's finally starting to come alive, and it's exciting. Our defense has to be ready for a good dose of run. I mean, they've got 2 backs that share the load nicely and have different skill sets they play to. I really think that Brock Osweiler, this is going to be such a big game for him.
Yeah, a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions.
And emotions, wow, talking about emotions, I was listening to Sports Radio 610 just on the way here to TSU this afternoon, and they had a gentleman, Big Al, Alfred Williams, who's a Super Bowl champion of yesteryear, who's up on 104.3 The Fan in Denver, and he was kind of giving the lowdown on what the attitude or the atmosphere in Denver is going into tonight's game. And it seems like Brock Osweiler is a well-hated character up there. And you can't get mad at a guy for going where the money is. I mean, they had the opportunity to keep him and have him be the guy that succeeds Peyton, and I thought he would. So it was a big shock to me that we got him. Almost as big a shock as how much we paid him.
Yeah, I mean, he paid him a good amount of money though. But
and so much of it is guaranteed on a largely untested quarterback. In terms of number of games played, he's being kind of a quality versus quantity guy, because in the handful of games that he played, won most of them in impressive fashion. And I was excited to have him be a part of this team. Going back there to Denver, no doubt they're going to boo him. They are. And I just hope that he can tune it out, stay focused on getting the win, not get too emotionally involved in the whole thing, and just stick to fundamentals and get the ball to his guys. And I'm really hoping the offensive line does a better job of keeping him clean than they have in the past. They're doing all right insofar as they're beating the teams they should beat, the teams everybody else is beaten, but when they're playing against a good team, they're not as good. They're not coming away with the wins. And predictions going on right now are, for the very most part, Broncos are going to take it. They're not exactly going to run away with it. This isn't a divisional game, but you could also look at it as a must-win, because it is another AFC game against a team that is undoubtedly going to go back to the playoffs.
Exactly.
And you may face them in the playoffs. It'd be good to know that, hey, last time we played, we beat y'all at home.
Atlanta won last week there. Houston can do the same thing.
Yeah.
But they got to get started earlier. You can't struggle against a tough defense like Denver, because Von Miller is going to be on his toes, ready to sack Brock Osweiler. So they have to get started early in the first 3 quarters of the game, not just the last quarter when it's time to come back, because that might be too late.
Yeah,
So,
and it will be. If you let Denver run all over top of you for 3 quarters, it's going to be more than you can come back from in 7 minutes, I guarantee. So, well, that's about all the time we've got this week for Texans Timeout. Thank you, Robert, my friend, my partner. I'm Kano Stacy, and see you next week.